waiving federal laws to allow border wall construction in Texas. The Department of Homeland Security announced the administration is waiving laws such as the Clean Air Act and Endangered Species Act for wall construction in Starr County, Texas, due to high illegal entry. The move comes as a surge of migrants is straining federal and local resources. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said there's an immediate need to construct physical barriers in the region to prevent unlawful entries in the U.S. There's still no winner of the Powerball jackpot. Saturday night's top prize is now $1.4 billion. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
Single-family houses and apartments are the key to passive income, a.k.a. retirement. No one knows this better than America's most successful investor educator, self-made multimillionaire, and CEO of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley. You've heard Del and his team on the radio. Now join the Lifestyles Unlimited team on location in Mountain View, October 21st and 22nd. Financial Freedom Seminar. Check the schedule and claim your seat now at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Over the course of 16 hours, we take you step by step, A to Z, on how to successfully invest in both single-family and multifamily properties. This is a complete class, not one of those teaser seminars. It's designed to teach you everything you need to know to purchase single-family and multifamily investment properties using our roadmap on your own from day one. Our team of expert educators and mentors want to meet you for 2 days of life-changing education. Get your lifestyle now. Go to GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Limited seating, unlimited potential. Sign up now at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at KCAAradio.com.
KCAA. Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-215-0703. 800-215-0703. 800-215-0703. That's 800-215-0703. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
No, it's Super Roth!
Okay, a gimmicky opening for a commercial about Super Roth Universal Life Insurance, but I'm sure it got your attention. Now, what is a Super Roth, you ask? It's a permanent indexed universal life insurance that's totally liquid and easily accessible once it matures. Can be used to supplement retirement savings or a death benefit, or both. Has no income or contribution limit. Has no 5-year rule like Roth IRAs. Has no 10% penalty for accessing the funds before age 59 and a half. Oh, and the average historical returns are 5 to 7% annually, tax-free. Super Roths also lock in gains, which means you don't lose your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living
with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Spotify. Did I say that? Streaker. I made up a new station, I think, called Streaker. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So the show has no gossip, no scandal, maybe a little bit. And no K words, no Kanye, formerly known or now, talk about other people's lives. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests. Oh gosh, we're now on, I believe, consecutive 596 weeks, but who's counting? Over 11 and a half years. This is podcast number 1034. And I'm so glad that they were wrong when they said a show about good things would not last. And I'm so glad that you're here. I have so many, actually, I'm going to spotlight one really great interview that I had, because the documentary called The Cove is on Hulu. So if you have Hulu and you're looking for something to watch, please do watch that. It's about Rick O'Barry, the dolphin advocate. What's the word I'm looking for? The dolphin activist. That's it. And his work in stopping single-handedly, at least reducing the dolphin slaughter in Japan, in Taiji, Japan. So please watch that. Watch my interview with him. Free subscribe on my YouTube channel that houses all 1033. And that way you will be moved. I promise you. He actually cried on my show. I love making people cry on my show because when you cry, it means your heart's open, and tears are the disinfectant that keep your heart soft. So that is why I love it when people cry. And if you're wondering what's going on today in the studio, well, you can see I'm not alone. I have my brand new co-host for Thursday's special series, Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and Frank
Perolo.
Oh, wait. Here it is. You're welcome. I'm so glad that you're here and that you are live. And this is his first solo, not solo, but I mean solo with me. And we're just going to jump right in with breakfast with me and my co-host, called Taking a Bite of My Gratitude Sandwich. I want you to start every single day in the most positive way. So we do 8 specific things that we're grateful for. One word, we're going to try the short version because we have a great topic today. And just say one thing that you're grateful for. We're going to ping pong back and forth. We do have eyeballs in the studio already. We've already gotten the finger, not that finger, but this finger. And one of these days I'm going to do the wrong one. What does that mean?
I've never, when people flip you off, sometimes they do a little winding motion.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh.
I see, this one, read between the lines, I've seen.
Oh, that's a good one. I haven't seen that one.
Oh, there you go. We learn something new every day on the show. So I am grateful for the magic of airplanes. Never get to Frank?
I am grateful for modern medicine. And
I'm grateful. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and doctors. That's kind of goes together.
Okay, that's 2. I'm grateful for exercise bikes and pools. Now we caught up. One more.
Okay, I am grateful for my music equipment.
And now we go to the bottom of the bun, because Frank likes it on the bottom like Sam used to. We get a little naughty on Thursdays as we wind into, your winding move, to the weekend. So what do you like about yourself? The reason why I do this is many of us are looking for love in all the wrong places. We don't like ourselves, and so we look for external approval. We walk around with antenna going, who likes me? And thanks to social media, it's literally how many likes am I getting, which is such a silly way to measure your day or your life or who you are. So instead, I want you to exercise your muscle of liking yourself by giving an appreciation for 4 things for each of us on what we like about ourselves. And that way we can go to bed. This is for right before when you go to bed, instead of thinking about all the things you didn't get done or who done who wrong or who ticked you off, you're going to think about what you like about yourself. And I promise that will give you a much better night's sleep than thinking about the other. So I appreciate that I have charm.
I appreciate that I am an adrenaline junkie.
I appreciate that I love trying new things.
I appreciate my love for science.
I appreciate my artistic ability.
Ooh, that's a good one. I appreciate my ability to love.
Good. My last one is I appreciate my openness.
I appreciate my how would I describe it? Ability to empathize.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And that is it for taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich for this morning on Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Frank Parolo.
Woohoo! I promise you that for 28 days, if you do this exercise and have breakfast with me, you will have a vastly different life with days wrapped in positivity, which basically is, I don't know, the best way I know how to live is to feel good about your life. Now, we are going to go into our topic for the day, which Frank actually did pick this morning. So why don't you take it away, Frank?
So, my topic I chose was how fast you should move in a relationship, because this is one that's bitten me before, and it's also one that has a dynamic answer. It kind of depends on the two people together, you know, how fast to move. And we're talking how fast you move both physically, emotionally, and, you know, formally, like in terms of marriage and, you know, things like that. So
awesome. And the way that I introduced it in the promo, warning, warning. Today we are talking about the C word, the real C word, which is commitment. So how quickly should you move into a relationship emotionally, physically, and literally? So that's my little creative twist on Frank's topic. And please do. I see eyeballs. I love my cashew gallery. When you check in, we want you to give us your 8 cents worth opinion on it or experiences. We love hearing real life experiences with all the things that we talk about here on this show, because it is about all of us and how we can, no matter what's happened, choose happiness. So I'm gonna, you already sort of, you know, you set yourself up because it's happened to you. In the first half of the show, I usually like to keep it real and also put the moose on the table. For those of you who've never tuned in before, that's my Canadian version. I just came back from Canada, the country, oh, Canada, my former home and not native land anymore. But instead of talking about the elephant in the room, I like to talk about the moose on the table. So I'm going to make you, and boy, this is a real initiation for Frank being my co-host. I don't know if you really understand what you signed up for, but I want to know what happened to you. Names can be changed to protect the guilty, but take me through that, and then I'll do one of mine. And then the second half of the show, I like to focus on solution, so that, you know, whatever has happened to you, we can learn from that and get to a place that feels better or allows you to choose more happiness.
Okay. So I'm the kind of person that gets very attached very quickly. something I'm working on. But that can scare people off. It scares girls off sometimes, and I learned what made me learn that that's a problem. Besides getting dumped over and over, was that whenever when a girl does that with me, where like they're like really attached, it's like, whoa, I barely know you, and they're like, 24/7 testing me, oh, let's hang out, let's hang out. It threw me off. So I'm like, oh, so that's why I come off to that must be why I'm causing these breakups. And so it's
So you interpreted texting constantly, let's do something, what are you doing, chat chat chat, as, oh, they want a relationship. And so then what do you say that sort of gets them freaked out? Do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to get married?
I haven't brought up the M word yet.
Okay, but girlfriend, is that the one that?
Yeah, it's like I start acting. I've this is something I don't do so much anymore. But I would kind of act like we're in like a more serious relationship, and I'd be planning these elaborate dates, and it's like someone I've only been on a couple dates with. We're still not official or anything, but I'm acting a little more like it's like something more serious.
Yeah.
And I've lost a couple girls I think I could have had, a long-term good relationship with in the long run by jumping to that conclusion too quickly.
Yeah. So, so has that backfired now? Like sometimes, once bitten or whatever, that adage, like, the extreme example is, I have clients, and I've talked about this before, men who come and say, I got my heart broken when my first love, and that has affected my ability to be committed in a relationship because I'm afraid to get my heart broken again, which is kind of silly because they're 40, 50 years old, and so you've allowed one experience to completely mess up the rest of your relationships in your life. And as a result, there were some that were like really good for him, but he passed them over because of that fear of the C word. And that, to me, like, that's why I'm all about balance, is that feels like you went from one extreme and took that and went all the way to the other extreme and basically hurt yourself. So has that happened to you?
Yeah, I've become very picky about who I am willing to date now, because I don't want to waste, if I know it's not, we talked about this with Sam a little bit, but I don't want to waste time if I know it's not right. But when I find someone I like, I can commit myself pretty quickly to going steady with them, or no, getting your heart broken though can really mess up your ability to find love, or how you find love, or going back all the way to high school. My high school sweetheart crushed me. She didn't do anything wrong. Like, she didn't like crush me in like trying to be mean, but it just crushed me. And it was a couple of years before I was able to like figure out how to get past it. And
yeah. Oh, well, first of all, I'm sorry about that, because heartbreak is certainly one of those feelings that can have some residual effect. But that so I it's not like I should be good and also share one of my personal before I do some heart surgery on you. So I I have, let's see. I'm going to say this. I'm not a typical woman, but there is gender difference on this particular topic. And you sort of, like Sam, are the exception to the rule in some ways, because most women are accused of, the image I have of this is in high school. If you're dating someone, you're sitting there in school writing your name and their last name. Like it's like futurizing, future tripping, future engaging, future marrying, and you are already with all of your visions of the dress and that, that's like the goal, right? Mm-hmm. And so every guy that a woman dates or a girl dates, every guy that a girl dates, oftentimes the stereotype is the woman is the one, or the girl is the one who is really quick to get emotional commitment, the C word. Yeah. You notice how I choked on that one. So I am not typical of that. I'm more on the other side, where I've been told I lead with my testosterone by Dr. John Gray, the author of the mega best-selling book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And he also talks about that gender difference. Women are sort of primed, and feminists will definitely have an issue with this, saying that women are not primed or don't have the genetic makeup for being a gatherer or looking for that security, looking for that building the home and the nest and having children, and that you're genetically wired that way. Men, on the other hand, are genetically wired to hunt and to also sample as many as possible. That is taking it to the extreme, and surely, this is my version of that extreme. That is the that stereotype. And therefore you have the men being the ones that are afraid of the C word and have difficulty. And, you see that played out in reality shows, etc., the ultimatum and all of that stuff. But I would say that it's not necessarily now the norm, with women being the ones that want it and men being the ones that don't want it, which is what you're saying. I would still say there's a majority, like 60-40, whereas before it was like 90-10,
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But I would say, I'm trying to think if I've ever had that where I have been like wanting to rush. Oh, yes. How could I forget? My marriage. I'm like going through my dating Rolodex and trying to remember. And that's so funny because I basically bought my own engagement ring because he hadn't, he goes, no, I thought about it. And he pulls out an advertisement for a jewelry store. And that was his proof that he'd actually been thinking about proposing. But I just happened, we were on vacation, poor guy. We were on vacation in Philadelphia, and my Aunt Penny, which I don't know if you know, I have a Russian Jewish side of my family. My mom was artificially adopted by a Russian Jewish woman. My grandma Blum. I have an Uncle Moishi and an Aunt Ethel and an Aunt Penny. And Penny was working at a jewelry store, my Aunt Penny. And so when I brought my boyfriend at the time to meet her, and she's like, so, gave him the talk, are you thinking about marriage? Are you going to propose? Da, 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 da. He called her, she should open a shop called Pressure by Penny. So he was basically invited both of us to her jewelry store, or her friend's jewelry store. And of course, I picked out the diamond that I loved. And of course, because I was the one that made money and I picked a man who didn't like to work, guess who paid for the ring? I did. But my defense is neither of us had been married before. Both of us really wanted to have children. and I'm not going to say because I'm ageless, because that'll give away how old I am when I tell you my kids' ages. But it was me, really rushing to. We were dating, I think, like almost 2 years, and so it was just a disaster. All kinds of red flags, but because I wanted the C word to have children, that's my only defense. And I was one of those broken kids who came from a dysfunctional family, one of the 7 out of 10 of us. And so it's common for us to pick people who are not good matches or matches on a negative level. So that's what I did. And I still don't regret it because we have 2 beautiful daughters that I couldn't have had without them. And for a number of other reasons to help me grow. So I did not have my heart broken in that one, right? But I did have consequences of rushing for that commitment.
Yeah.
Because it was, yeah. So comments.
Yeah, I've seen. I know someone personally who I'm very close to, who's been dating someone for like 10 years, more than 10 years now, and he just won't marry her. And so some guys really are afraid of commitment.
And what does that say about her? That does she want to get married too? I mean, does she want to get married?
I don't know anymore, but she did for many years, and
she just gave up.
I think she kind of like is like, this is not doing it, but
yeah, so that always, it looks like he's the problem, but then it always takes 2, right? So if he doesn't want to do it and she's given that up, it makes me wonder, like I'm not accusing because I did the same. I stayed way longer than I should have, but there's no, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Everything happens for a reason. If it's not to be together, it's to learn something about yourself. If it's not to be together for life. So okay. So now you did allude to the fact that he has a reason that he's never going to, because he has a C issue.
I think his reason is he's just scared of commitment. I don't think there was anything on her end any major red flag on her end that would make him afraid, because he wants to be with her. He just doesn't seem to want to marry her. And it's like, after this amount of time, it seems like you should pick one then, either move on or marry her. But, that's to each their own. Maybe it's just not, because it is scary because, like the legal ties once you're married to someone, if someone changes down the road, you could have a perfect marriage the first couple of years, and then someone changes somehow and it doesn't work anymore. And then, you have all this financial fiasco. And so I understand like why people would be afraid of it, but I DJ weddings for my other job. My main job is actually DJing weddings. So I see like all these little love stories and I'm just like, I want that. But some people just don't want it.
Mm-hmm. Now you see that when you're DJing, right?
Oh yeah.
So you mean at weddings and things like that?
Yeah, I see, these, I see obviously the brighter side of, everyone has, their relationship struggles, but I see all these happy little love stories entering their next chapter. And, once I find the right person, I'm down for that.
All right. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering what's going on in the studio today, yes, it is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah. And we're so glad that you're here. It is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Frank Parolo.
And it is my new co-host, and we are we are talking about, warning, warning, the C word, commitment. It's a topic that Frank wanted to launch his first solo outing with me, and he's going to be more careful next time, I think, when he chooses a topic, because he didn't realize I was going to pick on him and ask him to spill his own beans, as I like to do on this show. We're glad you're here. I see the eyeballs rolling in on my cashew gallery. If you'd like to tune in and also comment on your own C issues, if you have them, commitment issues, or maybe talk about your friends' commitment experiences. But we are now in the second half of the show, which I like to focus on solution. And Frank already committed himself by letting me know that he has had his heart broken, which is a common thing that I get to work with in my happiness coaching practice. So we're going to put him on the couch, so to speak, and work on that to see if I can't have him look at the whole situation in a way that doesn't quite re-break his heart every time. So this is an experiment. We'll see how I do. All right. So Frank, the C word for a lot of guys or girls or gals, women and men, usually more men than women. Somehow women are a little bit better at, okay, let's go to the next one. I'll just put it that way. And men have this ability to bring that emotional baggage, oversized, one heartbroken decades ago, and allow it to affect over and over and over again. So the good news is you're not alone. The bad news is you're not alone. And the first thing I'm gonna say, if you allow me to pour you some Kool-Aid to offer you to drink it, is no one can really break your heart. Your heart is your heart. And it may feel like it's broken, and that feeling is betrayal, rejection, disappointment on steroids, shattered future dreams, broken promises. You notice all those words are extremely violent or traumatic. And so we as a society, we as human beings have created scenarios that feed into the big drama of relationships. Now, we didn't do this on purpose. There was not a Wizard of Oz behind the curtains and say, I'm gonna just create this so that men suffer or women suffer when it comes to having relationships. But I would say that the situation that I just described is very much set up by some BS. And I'm gonna call the BS belief systems that we're taught from a very early age about relationships, about love, about commitment. You ready? There's only one. There's one soulmate. There's one love of your life. There's only one in the billion of us on the planet. Your job is to find the one. As you said, the right person. You fell right into that because that's what we're taught, right? Our first storybook books that we fall asleep to, that are read to us, are what? Snow White, Cinderella, there's a prince and a princess, right? And then we have Jerry Maguire. You complete me. Okay. Then we have the religion that says, till death do us part. No matter what, you are staying with them until, which is like, to me, the most funny thing or ironic thing is that that is in our vows. I mean, it's just like a death sentence or a life. No wonder there's sea avoidance. It sounds like a life sentence. So, have I convinced you that you have walked into and bought into a model that sets you up so you're asked, do you have a girlfriend when you're 6 years old? Do you like girls? Do you like, who's your boyfriend at 6 years of age? As soon as you go to school, I mean, that is two questions. What are you going to be, and do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Okay, set up. Then your peers also, the most popular guy is dating the most popular girl, cheerleader, football. It just continues this path to, guess what? You have a girlfriend in high school that you did. So, what's the first thing? Well, and I don't doubt that at the beginning there was a lot of common, and you're experimenting with opening up first, vulnerability, telling people how you really feel on the inside, feeling like you're not alone anymore, that that person understands you and loves you for who you are. This happens almost always in the first trimester of a relationship, which happened to you, right? That's the glue, right? And then you make promises, right? I'm going to be with you forever. We're going to go to college together. We're going to get married, buy a house, have children, grow old together, retire, and have die with plots beside each other. Right? I mean, that's about the story. I mean, tell me, fill that in, yes or no?
Yeah, that is the perception a lot of society gives off, is that there's that one person for you that you're going to find. But if you think about it, out of the, I think there's almost 8 billion people in the world now or something like that. And, chances are you met the one person for you at your local grocery store when there's an entire planet of people. There's probably millions of the ones for each person. My belief, my BS belief system is to find one of those ones and that makes you happy, and just stick with them as long as it's practical and healthy. And if it's not practical and healthy, then there's plenty more.
Okay, so that's what I want you to believe. That's the BS I want you to have. But if that's the BS, if that's your belief system, then why did that first one break your heart and make it feel so bad?
I'm the kind of person, when I really love someone, I don't want anyone else in that moment. When I'm like, the relationships I've had, when I go official with them, I cut other women off. Like, not that I won't speak to other women, but I mean, like, I'm no longer interested in anyone else. Not because there aren't plenty of girls that could be a good match, but because I want, monogamy.
And so that was not. So that you're freezing up just a bit. So let me make sure on my end we're okay. Yeah, I'm not on anything. Let's see if there's anything on your end. But so your definition of steady or committed is that you are not interested in others, and by that extrapolating that, are you telling me that the girl in high school that broke your heart did not fall into that category? She did not see a relationship the same way.
Well, our issue was we had totally different life paths planned out. It's classic high school sweetheart breakup story. Um, I think she's going to Yale right now or something. Um, she's bound to do crazy things. Not that I'm not bound to do awesome things, but I'm bound to stay local to home for one. And she wanted to go, the East Coast and stuff. So it's, it just wasn't meant to be. But what made it hard was I convinced myself it was meant to be at the time. And then I think for the next couple of years, I was afraid of feeling that same pain again after that breakup. When the next one didn't work out, which inevitably happened. I've had a handful of good relationships, and none of them so far. I'm currently single, so none of them have been the one yet. But the one I intend to stick with. Not that they could be the only one. But
is it possible that all of those that you've had a relationship with were the one for the time that they were? That you have actually a book of romance with unlimited chapters. I'm not asking you to be a polygamist or that you are going to have one night stands and therefore you have 1,050 chapters. But instead of seeing that first one as a failed relationship because they weren't the one, which is a very common way of people seeing it, is you were a match for as long as you were together. And there's no wrong here. She didn't break your heart.
No.
You allowed that feeling to consume you and make your reaction to it hurt you the most. It wasn't what she did, but the interpretation of what she did, which was just it was a match.
Mm-hmm.
Grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, maybe I'm futurizing here, grade 12, And 12. So by the time you broke up, right, it was clearly not a match.
Yeah.
And instead of saying, I am so grateful that I learned so much about how great a relationship could be when there's a match. And I'm grateful that I got to grow and expand with you. And I am excited about where the direction that you want to go. And I'm so happy that we shared that road, little bit of the road together, or turned a couple pages in our chapter, many pages in our chapter together, that I am excited that you are going to continue your journey and I am going to continue my journey. And, yes, I was hoping, that it would maybe last a little longer than it did, but I am happy that, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life wanting you to stay local, wanting you to be the person that I want you to be, and that you're not going to drag me along to all the crazy things that you want to do that would make me feel uncomfortable. Now, I know that sounds like in a perfect world and armchair quarterback, but I am actually talking about a complete shift in the way that all of us look at relationships. So there really is no heartbreak. Go ahead.
And that's true. That reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is just from a fictional TV show. But this couple separates, this married couple separates, and they said, well, maybe we didn't have a failed marriage, but we had a wildly successful marriage that only happened to last a couple of years, and that spoke to me, when I first saw that. It's like, as true people, like, they feel like they have to erase every memory they have with someone that they dated because it didn't turn out to be the person they were going to stay with forever. I have tons of great memories with girls I've dated, and I still cherish those memories. My last girlfriend, she was here on a work visa for working at the local ski resort by where I live, and I met her on Tinder or something, and she ended up being super awesome. We totally had an awesome fling. Um, but in the end, and that was actually the most serious relationship I've had because it kind of had to move quickly or else it wasn't going to, because she had to decide whether or not she wanted to stay. And ultimately, she ended up going back to Peru, and I have nothing but respect for her and love for her, and I hope she's happy. But I have so many great memories with her. There's nothing I would take back about that whole situation.
And that's the the part of the model that I'm trying to get you to drink. That's the Kool-Aid. Is it possible? I mean, we would all really have to change the fundamental BS belief system that there is only one, and that one completes you. I mean, if we could change that, can you imagine what the world would be like if every single pairing that happened in your life, you could break up in a way that says there was a match, and then after, however how many pages we had, it was clear that there wasn't a match anymore. And instead of saying, if you loved me, you would change this or do this or not do this or say this or not say this. Thank you for the finger. Cashew Gallery, I'm glad that you're here. Instead of, if you loved me, and why doesn't he or why doesn't she, or I wish they weren't, it was, okay, that is who they are. And I don't like that. Do I like it? Do I dislike it enough? Is it more than 20% of this relationship is things that I want to change? So if you have 80% a good time, that's my criteria. If 80% of the time you are having fun with whoever you're with, then stay. Because you're not going to get 100. There's never 100% because you're two different people. Even twins.
I do feel one exception.
Okay.
I do feel one exception to that. As long as the parts that aren't great, there's never abuse involved.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Because some people
abuse
stick
is
with
never
people.
20%.
True.
Abuse is never
Yeah.
20%. So yeah. So and I love it when I have clients, and most of them are women, who will say, yes, I have 80%, but this thing drives me crazy, and that thing takes up 80% of your life or your breath or your attention. Then honey, it's you, not them. Because you're so focused on that one thing that is only 20%, that it takes up 80% of your time and your breath and your person. Then guess what? Let them go.
Yeah.
Let them go. Be with someone who appreciates 80% of them, instead of you, who are focused on 80% of what you don't like, because that's not good for them.
There are things about, no matter how deeply connected you are to someone, there's going to be something about them that ticks you off. And like you said, you found a good ratio there.
Thank you. Well, 8, eight's a lucky number in Chinese. Yeah. It's a homophone for good fortune. And that's not you, that's me.
Oh, okay.
It's a truck backing up outside. So there we go. Go ahead.
Put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot when there's something going on in the background here. We'll live with it. So, okay, so that is the Kool-Aid that I'm asking you to now, when you look at your first girlfriend, the feelings were not great, but did your heart irreparably get broken to the to the extent that you are now negatively affected in every single relationship that you go forward in?
No. It messed up my state of mind, but not because she did anything wrong or, but it's not irreparable. No, it's just something I had to learn. It was a life lesson, you know.
Yes.
How to handle these kind of things.
But from this point forward, I want you to give me a little credit.
Okay.
That you're going to reframe how you talk about that relationship.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of she broke my heart, it wasn't her fault, but I don't want to feel like that ever again. Two, it worked and it was wonderful when it was wonderful. And when we started realizing that we were on two separate paths, instead of asking each other to change and lose a part of each other, right? For the other, that was not good for either of us. And it was just the first chapter. So I don't want you to give that relationship undue influence on the rest. And when you say I had my heart broken by my first relationship, you are giving that more weight.
Yeah. That's true.
So today, October, when you travel, the 5th is the first day where you reclaim your heart. Was never broken, but it felt broken. But now you can go, it felt broken. I'm sure it'll feel broken again. But the reality is, it's my heart and no one can break it. I can choose to feel like it's broken, but it really wasn't broken. It was just not a match. So that's what I would love for you to just practice or take a little sip of that Kool-Aid from this point forward to see if that doesn't positively impact what you are feeling. Deal?
Deal.
Yay! All right. It's a free $200 coaching session. That you didn't ask for. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed that a little bit.
Good. I did.
Good. I'm glad. And I hope that y'all that are listening also, if you are a person that is still suffering from a breakup or a non-complete clause in your relationship, then I hope that you also can reframe what you have gone through so that you can choose more happiness and certainly not be carrying your oversized baggage in your future travels with relationships. And that is my final word on this very special series. Every Thursday, you're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA. AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, home to the Asian Oprah and NBC News Radio. So, do you have a last word, Frank Perillo, on your first official co-hosting for Straight Talk?
Ooh, my last word for today would be to stick with it. And not to give up.
So relationships are not easy. I was interviewed on KUSI near Valentine's one year, and the question was, do relationships have to be that hard? Right? That was the question. And I know my whole thing is the name of my show is Take My Advice. I'm not using it, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, because I don't necessarily always take my advice. So I am also currently single, and I am constantly debating whether or not to be in a relationship. But I will say that the upsides of a relationship, if you have a healthy relationship, are certainly better than not having a relationship. I think relationships are gifts in life, and hopefully, both of us, will have uh, the next relationship we're both in. We're going to learn something, and for 80% of the time, it's going to be better than the 20% of the time that it's not. And that is my final word. And before we end the show, I know we're on our last couple of minutes. I do want to offer some Asian Oprah giveaway passes to the Catalina Jazz Festival that is coming up 2 weekends in October. I won't have time to pull it up, but you can just Google that. The first person that goes to drmarissa.life and puts down Catalina Jazz Festival will win a pair of Sunday all-day passes, couple $100 value each. So don't say I don't give anything away. You get a pass, and you get a pass here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Thank you for tuning in. Frank, you know the drill. Here we go. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Tomorrow, we do have tempting conversations with my co-host Alon Carter. And where are we? Are we early to close?
We have about a minute.
We have a minute. Good. I do want to also invite you to take a look at the Newport Beach Film Festival. I'm a proud sponsor now for the, I believe, 7th year. And if you are anywhere in Southern California, go to newportbeachfilmfest.com and you will see an assortment. It's a big party for an entire week. I will be on the red carpet. I am also one of the sponsors of the Chinese Spotlight Film. I am giving away Pacific Showcase free tickets worth, I think, like hundreds of dollars. They have a lion show, really great food from all of the Southern California people that sponsor. So please do go and check them out. I will be giving away those passes tomorrow. So come tune in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Now go and have the best night or day ever. Peace. We'll see you tomorrow.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.